So how do you prepare for the result of a matchup that's happening tomorrow?
Oh yeah, we don't. Just it's a good chance. This is a good chance for a few days to just try to work on things that we want to work on. So it's good that you spend so much time preparing for opponents. I've gotten better at this as I've gotten older. That you forget about worrying about improving your own team. So I spent a lot of time, less time with the opponents later in my career, and it helps to worry about your own team. It's nice to not even think about the other team.
So what are you focusing on then during
Get better. Things we can get better at. I know you're looking for details. Defensive rotations. When you watch film, there's things that certain guys need to get better at. So you show them things on film, things as a team that you can get better at. For instance, staying in front of the basketball. I know it's very simple, but too many young guys open their chest when they reach out. Guy drives right by them. Things like that. We get if you can stay in front of the ball, you got a much better chance to be a good defensive team. So anything you can do to try to pick things out, and obviously offensive execution, things that you think you can get better at, make your team harder to guard. But look, no matter what happens, if you win Thursday, you got to play Friday, so on and so forth. So you can't prepare for everything that's going to happen. Conference tournaments are wild.
You got 18 teams now, huh?
Yeah, well, and first of all, everybody. I was one of the, if not the main guy, pushing for everybody. Everybody should be involved.
Where do you think the team's kind of mentality is right now heading into the tournament?
I think even for those guys, it's a little probably they feel a sense of relief. That they're where they're at as far as knowing they're going to play in the postseason. But I can't speak for them. But I would guess. Hopefully that they would derive some confidence from the fact that they can defend. Hopefully. That if they defend, they can be a high-level basketball team. That's my hope of where they're at mentally. But I think, look, there's so much stress for these guys through the course of the season, especially in this era, guys. There's so many of you, and there's so many geniuses at home that, and these kids sadly read it. I think Trent's admitted that to you. And I know they do. As much as you tell them not to. Like I said, NBA guys like $50 million a year read that stuff. It's just the culture of people, I guess 30 and under. It's just nice to have a few days where you don't have a game for these guys. Just some stress-free environment.
This team from the beginning of the year has gone from middling in terms of turnovers to now one of the elite teams in the country. What's been the biggest key in that change?
I stay relentless with it. And I always have, my numbers with that. So, I just don't think you can ever achieve being a great team if you turn the ball over. You can never win on the road, put too much pressure on your defense. Imagine some of the defensive struggles we've had if we turned it over, right? So, but look, I think playing three guards helps as well, to be fair. I mean, when you're starting three guards and Eric's got guard skills, so, and Tyler just shoots it. He tried to dribble some early in the year. We started calling him Magic Bilodeau, and it just didn't go well. He finally gave it up. But we were calling him Magic Bilodeau for a while.
For him, I mean, he's gone from a good scorer last year to now, I mean, he's scoring at an elite level from basically every spot on the floor. Is that just playing with Donnie, or is that, his own skill development? What do you think's been the biggest key there?
Two things. I mean, look, we focus on player development here. I think all you got to do is look at guys' numbers. Johnny Juzang's Kentucky numbers to his UCLA numbers. So we put a lot of time into player development. And if you got good kids that like to develop, it's easy to develop them because they love to be in the gym. And Tyler's a workhorse, man. He loves to work out. He loves to be in the gym, and he is an elite shooter. Like, he's as good a shooter as I've ever coached. That's how good of a shooter he is. I mean, he is lights out. He is like, and I love Johnny. From three, it's not even close who's a better shooter. You know, Tyler's an elite shooter. I mean, numbers wise, he's not David, but he's close.
Recruiting wise, how many guys do you ideally want to take from high school ranks in 2026?
Well, it depends who's available. You know, it all depends who's available. When you start to talk about recruiting, it's how much. Let's just be honest. You know, I would love, you get 15 scholarships. If you can afford to have 15 guys, I think I would love to be able to develop players. I mean, I just believe in it. I think the culture speaks for itself. I think there's certain teams you look at, like Michigan State, but Purdue's about to graduate a lot of them guys. I would love to be able to have guys for 4 or 5 years, so we're not going to stop trying to do that. As far as, ratio, depends who's available, it depends how much they cost. I mean, in a perfect world, you'd like to have at least half of your roster homegrown, meaning signed out of high school. I think any more than that might be unrealistic, right? I don't know if it'd even be realistic to say it, but when you start to talk about recruiting, you got to have a vision for a guy. Guys got to see it, and we try to talk to guys like we're not, about what their vision is, because if it's not the way they want, if it's not, it doesn't match up, he's going to leave. So it was all a waste of time and money. After 1 year, it's just a waste of time and money. So, but there's a lot of people out there that have children, parents involved, and there's some smart people involved with kids that do believe that it would be good for them to pick the right school, go and get the development, and never have to transfer. There are people out there like that. And there are parents out there smart enough to know people are just trying to get you to transfer so they can make a little more money. So you just got to find the right people.
Is the development arc for a guy like Eric Franey, is that kind of the
All you
poster
gotta
child
do
for
is look
that?
at it. I keep saying this, I'm not trying to turn this into a recruiting infomercial, but just look at pick it, go ahead, pick another guy. I mean, Donnie Dent's assisted turnovers almost 4 to 1. Okay, it was 2 to 1 last year. He didn't play here. It's almost 4 to 1. And he's playing at a much higher level. Look at Trent Perry's development. What I'm doing here. Now again, I think you gotta pick guys that are gonna let you coach him and develop him. Because just roll it out and let him play his game, that's not development. And we'll see where that gets him too. We'll see where that gets him. Versus, help a guy. It's not holding a guy back. It's not being hard on a guy. It's helping the guy. It's helping them get to where they want to go. Now, it's not always easy in life trying to get where you want to go. There are some bumps. You're going to have to make some changes. Could be technically on the way you shoot. Could be your toughness level of how hard you work and how you take care of the ball. Could be your footwork. Sky hasn't shot it well lately. I got to get his feet apart. You want to break down his shooting, he gets his feet too close together at times. He reverts back to that habit. Tyler is somebody that I worked really hard with that. But getting his feet apart allows you to drop your hips and have more balance when you're shooting from the perimeter, which is vital to your success. So we just try to focus on all that, and recruiting, try to focus on people that are smart enough that know that coaching is helping.
Coach, you said that, when you're focusing on player development, you said nobody really knows who I really am, because that was all you do, you focus on player development. Does it bother you that nobody doesn't know who you really are?
No, not at all. I think it bothers some of my, some people I work for here, because they know who I am, so, but no. I think, people can choose to see what they want, and whatever sells. People can choose to see what they want. So It's all good.
But,
I mean, you speak a lot about, player development, kind of teaching them as people as well as
Yeah.
basketball players. Do you have any kind of just specific philosophy just in regard to coaching or a goal?
Yeah,
with
I'm
guys?
son of a high school coach. So high school coaches don't coach for money. I only qualify that. A few do nowadays. That has changed. They didn't used to. Like the first, Jim Leon hired me at Woodward High School. $500 is what I made. And I coached the freshman team. I was assisted the JV and the varsity. So I left my classes at University of Cincinnati, and then I went and did that for like 5 hours. I made $500. My dad never made probably more than $1,500 to coach high school basketball in 30-some years. You know, I mean, these high school coaches, they coach because they love the game and they want to help young kids. So that's the environment. That's what I was taught coaching was for. Money was never a factor. Nobody I knew growing up in the west side of Cincinnati that coached basketball made any money. In fact, they didn't have any money. That's why my dad worked for the Atlanta Braves. I mean, it's just, so it was about trying to help kids, and you love the game. You know, that's why, and I know this. I mean, Coach Wooden, you read all his books. He drove a dairy truck in the summer to make extra money. I mean, it wasn't like he was getting rich and living in Bel Air. I mean, most people know right where that apartment complex is on White Oak. Greatest coach of all time lived in that apartment. It's hard to believe. So it was just, times have changed with the money. So does the responsibility. But it doesn't change who you are, what you believe coaching is. So I don't mind, because I know, and my players know.
Coach, I got a off-topic question. I was
Yeah.
doing something on Trent, and he told me like last year when he came to talk to you after the season, he's one of the few players that ever brought a notebook
Yes.
into his end-of-season meeting. Do you mind
Second.
elaborating?
Miles Johnson.
He didn't remember the other kid. I asked if he
Miles. Trent's smart, but, comparing somebody to Miles is unfair. Miles had an analytical breakdown of where he'd go to Stanford or UCLA for grad school. So it's the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. His dad even called me. He's like, Rick called me. He's like, my son's a little different now. But no, Trent had it broken down. I mean, Trent, again, he went to Harvard Westlake for academics, not for basketball. I mean, he belongs here. Whether he plays basketball or not, he belongs at UCLA as a student. So, yeah, he did do that. Second, I think he's the second guy, because when Miles was deciding to play a sixth year, we met after the season, and he had to break down again. I told him to tear it up, take the job at IBM, and quit playing basketball. As much as I love being around him, you weren't put on this earth. The guy that picks up and speaks Japanese for fun taught himself Japanese. To tear it up, Miles. Just go take the job. You weren't here to play basketball. God didn't put you here. So Trent's a very highly intelligent guy. Highly intelligent. I just want him to, he's made great strides in how hard he plays. He's still making strides. With all these guys, it's March. I try to teach them, like, right now, can you practice and concentrate today without me making you? Because the day's coming where I'm not going to be there to motivate you every day. And that's what separates people. I try to teach them what's going to separate them. And that's what's, Trent's like our managers, who are the smartest guys and the hardest working guys on campus, and have been since I've been here. The most successful guys that I've been around, UCLA managers, what they will do with their lives. And Trent can hang out with those guys intellectually, but their work ethic is second to none as well. So he's getting there. He's got to get him to a point where he can do it on his own every day. That's when you're an adult. That's why I try to get these guys to that point.
I know you're not focused on specific teams here in the
Yeah.
Big Ten tournament, but
I can give you opinions. You want my picks?
If it is
Sound like my
Minnesota, again, you were pretty frustrated after that film session, the 10 deflections. What did you guys learn from that game that you can apply if it is them?
If we were to play Minnesota, sure. I mean, I would, one thing I hope I don't have, that would eliminate me having to motivate my team.
Yeah.
Right? That would wake them up pretty quick. Question being, what would we have to do to win?
Just what you were very disappointed with that film session. You made that clear.
Yeah, well, the
what
game,
adjustments can you make from that?
You got to play harder. You have to have some defensive fire and intensity, which we did not. And give it, but I think you give them credit. They played great, but our defensive effort was far from where it needed to be. But a lot of that is because they're hard to defend. Everybody struggles to defend the way they run their offense, the modern Princeton style stuff. Rutgers, they've been scoring a lot of points lately. I haven't seen them lately. I watched Minnesota yesterday. I'll watch Rutgers today. I got a nice little plane ride, so I can catch up on them. I'll have them both done.
Yeah.
That way I got time to have them both done, so might as well just have them win. See who wins. All right, guys.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.